I can't, I wish you'd stop tweeting. Honestly, I wish you'd stop talking outside of official channels because that fucker says something stupid all the time. We are holding our political officials throughout the Senate, the House, the administration, and our state senates are supposed to hold a certain amount of class, modest president, certain amount of dignity, and a certain amount of like trustful and truthfulness. I have no confidence in this governor because you make stupid choices. I got you. But then you don't own up to it. And then you back away after admitting you back away from it. You've lost it as character. Your character is compromised. Granted, Lieutenant Governor, 2 sexual allegations, you might as well just pack your bags, dude. Like, what kind of bullshit is that? But the party that is trying to hold everyone, we need to be at this standards. AOC who's saying, we need to only take, donations from the people, not from PACs and stuff like that. We need, everyone wants everyone to be at a higher level. But when their own party hits that higher, it falls from grace all the way to the bottom of the fucking racist barrel. Then we go, oh, no, he shouldn't resign. He should heal the state. He should heal the Commonwealth of Virginia. Oh, the sexual assault. Well, he should be a champion for sexual assault people. What kind of fucking shit is that? That's like going to an AA meeting from a guy who sold me alcohol.
Exactly.
Like, for fuck's sake, what are you talking about? Like, if I would probably lean more towards the Democrats. In some cases, I do. I like to be an independent. I like to think my own. Some stuff the Democrats say aren't totally retarded. Say they're Republicans. Some things the Republicans say aren't totally retarded. But one thing that hurts me is that every time I'm like, I can lean into this Democratic, administration for Virginia, let's lean into my state and what's going on. And, I'm trying to be a little more supportive instead of just like the big government, but my state government that I love so much. You need to hold fucking people to standards. And if you can't hold yourself to standards, we all fuck up. I'm not mad that he fucked up besides him being a racist twat. That's fucked up enough. But the fact that you cannot hold yourself to a good standard enough to not fucking back away and pussy out from just taking the blunt of it and just going forth and conquer, you lost. You know what? You should not be running a state. You shouldn't be running a fucking McDonald's. You need to get the fuck out of here, go practice abortions or whatever the fuck you do. Get the fuck out. And a guy who went to VMI and everything. You think, he touts his military thing, but yet you have no military fucking honor. You have no military fucking dignity. Get the fuck out of my state. Lieutenant Governor can go. The AG, he's retarded. He can stay the AG, but I just don't have trust in him prosecuting anyone or being an attorney general and shit. It's like, maybe you should be the attorney janitor instead.
Well, I was about to say, the way things are going with all the politics, it looks like it will be the janitor that could be the next governor of. Isn't there like I'll be the governor of Virginia campaign going on?
So the cool thing about Virginia is you only get like 1 or 2 terms max. Like you don't get like fuckers that have been like the governor for like 18 years and shit in some of these states. It's like a 1 term. I think it's 1 term actually. It's because I know Tim Kaine, who's now the senator for Virginia, was a governor, I believe, at one point, and I believe the other fucker is too. You get like 1 shot, or maybe 2, but I think it's 1. So it's like you're in. You got 4 years to make your thing. Make your mark. Do what's rest of Virginia, and then we move on to the next fucker. We don't have like a Clinton or a Bush thing where we're just going to keep cycling these fuckers through. I'm about to run. Because I already have a leg up on the fucking governor because I'm not a racist piece of shit. And I'm also not a pussy. Because if anyone comes out with anything that I have said or done, I will admit to it, apologize, and we'll go from there. Because I am, at least one thing, I don't care if it's just how I grew up. It's just, there's a military or whatever. But, at a certain point, you got to have your fucking balls in check to be able to go, yeah, I fucked up. Be a fucking man about it. Oh, wait, we can't. Because your own party, who was calling for resignation, but then realizing that shit, everyone else has been fucking up, and this could go to a Republican. No, we don't need to.
That's what they're doing. Isn't there what they're doing right now? Is they're now that they're having a collapse of the government? That now they're worried. Yeah, they're worried about a Republican getting in there, which is kind of funny because I like dumpster fires. So to me, I think this is fucking classic. So now there are people that they thought were going to be up in office and all that. I think personally someone's been blackmailing and I think it's in between each other. So I think like the governor was realizing that, oh shit, the guy that I don't want to be the think about that. The guy, all of a sudden, it's ironic and real coincidental that immediately after all this blackface stuff came up, that all of a sudden Lieutenant Governor had rape allegations. Now, I'm not saying that we don't believe anybody.
Yeah, no, the timing is crazy. Like I don't, I'm not. This isn't tinfoil times, and I don't know what kind of voodoo was happening back behind the scenes. But it's like, wow, when it rains, it pours, and they were all cool. Everyone, all the Democrats were like, "Damn you, Ralph Northam, get out." Get out, take your dog and your little, your cat too. We don't give a shit. Take your wife and her Botox. Go. And because they were like, hey, it's not so bad. We'll have a black governor in Virginia. Fairfax.
Real quick, that there has been reports, not allegations, there's been reports that the first individual that said that she was sexually assaulted by Lieutenant Governor, that she has emails, she has text, she has all this information where she tried to tell somebody about it, and there are individuals that do know about this, and they were suppressed. So that right there, if that's the case, and there's legit, hey, this happened, and there was some suppression and no investigation, then now, like you said about
there, you're right. There was somebody who said that he knew about, he knew about this, but didn't say anything. That is a part of Virginia. I just don't remember his name. But it's weird because you don't know if it's, when the governor said, man, Lieutenant Governor's throwing shade on me. Fuck that guy. I know what. Hey, hey, lady, I think now's a good time to, to throw those allegations back out into the open, because Fairfax, for a lot of people who don't know, the Lieutenant Governor Fairfax was actually considered one of the rising stars of the Democratic Party, kind of like Bezo or whatever they're called, but with a little more clout and actually in office. Not just, a hipster in Austin eating tacos and shit, trying to be, the senator. Fairfax actually had a little more clout. He's a very well-spoken. He's very educated. He's very smart. He's a very likable guy. He's kind of like Obama when in 2016, except he actually, goes to the meetings and goes to the Congress and shit like that. He's probably not 2020, not even 2024 or whatever, but maybe the next election after that, depending on how things shook out. But he was being kind of groomed as one of those, first it's, lieutenant governor, and then maybe he runs for the governor, and then he runs for Senate and gets that pedigree. But he was considered a rising star in the party. All of a sudden, once he starts making allegations, once he starts calling for a resignation of the governor, then his allegations came out. So then is it the governor? Did the governor play a little politics and go, well, you want to fuck me? Ha ha. Or is it, did the Republicans or the conservative group that, released the first page and the picture with the, blackface and KKK, did they have another ace in their belt? Was this a big conspiracy to make sure the line all the way down to a Republican was cleared away? Because it's more politics, because everyone in the Dem Party was calling for the governor to resign, even before, even after his apology, whatnot. But once the first allegation came out, and then the second, all those calls for resignation turned off, because they realized they're going to lose fucking Virginia over scandals. And now everyone has gone radio silent about calling for his resignation. Now he's trying to do his best, which a lot of people are, there was a CNN article, it was like, why is Governor Ralph Northam still talking? Yes, shut the fuck up if you want to keep this administration alive. But no, it's like, I don't think there's a problem. Shovels more dirt out. I don't understand why he shovels more dirt out. Like, it's weird, because the politics of, we got to control, we got to keep Virginia blue, because it's very much in danger of not being blue. I don't know, and all the Republicans in Virginia still called, even the House of Representatives for the United States government came out. I was like, I think it's Rob Whitman came out. I was like, this is a testful. Everyone's coming out and saying this shit. It's just, Virginia used to make me very proud. We have a very storied history with a lot of shit. A lot of shit with the Revolutionary War. We've had some, good and bad things when it comes to like the Civil War, and, great battles that are fought, but they were also horrible, bloody battles, because Virginia was like the meeting ground. Everyone fought and shit. And then Virginia's also done a lot of good stuff post Civil War. And Virginia's done a lot of stuff that a lot of states, emulate. It's like the north South. That's what we're going to call that, the North South, that was just enough where, all the, people in DC would live in Virginia. We're just south enough. We're under the Mason-Dixon line, but we're not quite Alabama and shit like that. Where you would expect shit like this to go down, where somebody's wearing KKK and blackface. This is fucking Virginia. This is my state. And how fucking dare this whole shit not only happen, but everyone's going to pussy out instead of taking responsibility for their being fuckers. And then you want to tell me that I should pay more taxes, or I should do this, or our state should do this, or we should have a responsibility to do that. I say the next time that fucker says anything about anyone else, I'm going to be like, hey, fucker, I remember that one when you said that you were either in the blackface or the KKK mask? Fuck you. Like, if I can't trust, it's like my dad cheating on my mom and then telling me to be faithful to my wife. It's just, you're not the right person to be saying that kind of shit. Granted, that never happened, just in hypotheticals, just in case my dad listens to this and yells at me later. But Virginia should not be this fucked up. We're not Florida. We're not Florida. We never try to be Florida. We can vote and do it well. We vote so well that they usually call the winners like 10 minutes after the polls close, because we know how it's going to go. And it's like 99% right. Even with the percentages, we know who, we're a pretty set people. We're good to go, except Arlington. Fuck those guys up in Arlington County.
well, real quick, we gotta take a break. It's our guest is gonna be coming on in the top of the hour, and so
resign, Governor. Yeah. Fucking resign. You too, Lieutenant Governor.
Well, I'm not.
Resign.
I'm not a Virginia
for governor. I am not a crook, KKK member, or wear blackface, or have sexual allegations with me. I'm already 10 times better than the current administration. Vote for Flash if you're in Virginia. I expect signs and shit. Let's do this.
All right. We'll be right back. Shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue. but it's true. I know, cause I see it every day as I work and I sleep the day away. Like you, I have pain, and like you, I have fear. Can I pay all of the bills and still make it through the year? Will I make it home alive? Should I pray to the sky every day and every night? Will I hold you by my side? But in the public eye, I don't even have a heart. A robot of the system moving only when I'm told to start. Rip apart my art, I'm strong like a flower blooming. You got it all wrong, I know I'm breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
Call me a vet like a soldier. Green beret, 21 gun salute, don't wanna see the day. In the constant war zone, in the home of the brave, where they hate the police until they saving the day. I got kids like you, a mortgage like you, so blue lives matter, and so does yours too. All this separation and divide, open your eyes. If you cut us all open, we the same inside. The only difference is I run to the gunfight. Your peace when it's chaos, when the people don't act right. But I'm under scrutiny for trying to protect me. You pull a pistol and I'm shooting for trying to contest me. I got a quick second to make a deadly decision. The media betrayed me like a kid for a living, like I'm cold with no heart, a brain with no thoughts, a body with no feeling, a life with no cause.
Like you breathe, I breathe, and like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. And I'm damned if I do, and damned if I don't. It's like every single time I say what's on my mind, they go for my throat, they spew evil words. If you are absurd, always grinding, grinning, and killing my soul with these verbs. Hold me down, like I can't gasp for air. I'm closed inside of a box, like I'm inside Fort Knox. Every time that I'm there, I don't know why they think that I'm different from you. All that's true is I'm a like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human. Like you breathe, I breathe. And like you see, I see. And like you need, I need. And like you bleed, I bleed. Don't treat me like an object, I'm tested and proven. Mind, heart, and soul, I'll always be a human.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back, part 2 of the Monday edition with our guest, Don Shipley. Welcome, Don.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh my God, you cannot. This is a great honor that you are on here with us, man. This is awesome. We love it.
Well, I tell you, you guys saved me from The Bachelor. Almost 40 years of marriage, and she wants me to watch The Bachelor with her. So 2 hours of that, you guys got me out of an hour of it. So thanks.
That's what it's all about, man. Trying to take care of each other. So real quick, well, you've been in the news recently. I would say nationally, I guess. You were the one that decided to, not decided, you were asked to highlight I guess the Native American individual who claimed.
Yeah, Nathan Phillips.
Nathan Phillips. Could you tell us a little bit about what happened with there?
Well, I try to stay in my lane with these SEAL claims. Sometimes I can't, and people will push me into these bigger things. You know, that Jamie Morgan Kane guy, the British guy convicted of murder. was telling all those crazy recon Marine stories, and I got his records and went after him. And then, this Nathan Phillips, people kept pushing me about it. Look into this guy. He's caused a lot of damage. He's a habitual harasser, and I started watching it, and I just got his records and threw them out there for everybody. He's not who he says he is, and we see that quite a bit when we pull records, and you're falsely claiming something that you are not. It's because you had a bad run in the military. Your final duty station was the brig at Miramar. You were, bad conduct discharge, or you never made it out of boot camp, and guys are ashamed of that. And he beat around it, and that's his records.
Yeah. I guess he was he ended up being released from the Marine Corps as a private after being AWOL a few times.
Yeah, you can get away with that in the Navy a few times, but the Marines don't like that stuff. They don't mess around with the Marine Corps. But yeah, I guess they're suing him because he was profiting, and what this is going to turn into is a big case for the stolen valor laws in this country, because he did take money, and I can't recall what it was for now, but part of his story of doing something about being a Vietnam veteran. And
Correct.
So they're suing him right now for that. And that's all hinged on the stolen valor laws. And the stolen valor laws, they're tough. Police and FBI going after these guys, they save it for the really big things, the medals of honor, the guys that are really, really profiting from it. Other than that, it's left up to guys like me, or we'd never get any of them. You got to throw their names out there and post it up so they can't do it anymore.
So real quick, how did you get started with that? Well, what was it that made you say, oh hell no, and decided to hunt these guys down? What was the catalyst for you?
Well, when I was in the Navy as a young SEAL, we just used to punch them when we'd see them, or hear it. You would hear that word SEAL get dropped in a bar or somewhere. It's like hearing your name in a loud party or something. You would hear that and go investigate it and loosen a few teeth.
Yeah.
But I was running that training course that my wife and I started, Extreme SEAL Experience, a wonderful course. We did so well with it. And there was no shortage of guys that wanted to do something for us, because we worked a lot with kids with cancer, and we put kids through for free coming from broken homes. I mean, we did some good stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a surprise when guys would want to reach out and donate things or do things. And one of the guys donated a very beautiful Model 700 tactical sniper rifle and a 50 caliber sniper rifle.
Oh, wow.
And he wanted to present that stuff. And he was a Marine that had been shot in the belly in Panama as a door gunner, and the helo crashed, and it crushed his head when he went down. And he was all upset at the VA or the Red Cross, and he wanted to donate to us and all that. And we brought him down for our course, Hell Night. And I had, 25 young, impressionable minds, and I labeled that clown a hero in front of them. Only to find out later there was no helos that were shot down in Panama. He was a Marine gate guard in Kenya at the embassy duty there. He had sued the VA several times, and they got him for wire fraud, and we helped a lot. But he couldn't get up a flight of stairs or anything, and I sent him pictures of him jumping out of a helicopter.
Oh, shit.
So he went to jail, and it just upset me. I mean, the guy was had access to my computer. My wife caught him, her and my daughter's underwear. And we didn't know who this guy was, and it upset us greatly. And that's how that whole thing got started.
That's what I'm talking about. That's. I mean, it's unfortunate that that's how it happened, but. So then you also started, because I've seen you. I mean, I used to see you a lot, back in the day when your YouTube channel was pretty big. And then what happened with YouTube?
Well, the first guy I went after on YouTube, the two kinds of phonies that I really don't like. I really don't like any of them. And the two that I really despise are the religious phonies. The guys that'll wear that crucifix around their neck and start telling you all these SEAL stories, and they use that to build their trust up. Oh, he's a religious man. He would never lie. Well, the hell he wouldn't. And the other ones I don't like are the guys that will freely give training advice how to become a SEAL to young guys that are looking to do that when they've never had the courage themselves to go through it. And the one guy was giving this training advice to this kid, and when I called him out on it, now this wasn't even on the YouTube thing, he threatened to have me killed by his uncle and the Gambino crime family.
Holy shit.
And I got mad. He claimed to be an admiral and he was going to get my pension taken back and all that. So that was the start of phony Navy SEAL of the week. And I just threw his ass up there. So
it turns out he was probably stolen Valor Gambino as well, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no end to these things. And I verify so many of these claims. He's claiming to be a Navy SEAL and an EOD tech, and he works for the CIA, and he was a prisoner of war in Kosovo and all this stuff. And I'll verify the SEAL claim, and they'll come back. Well, was he ever an EOD? What's the point of even going any further? He wasn't a SEAL. Well, okay. Well, did he work for the CIA? Listen, you're not listening to me. Well, was he a POW? Shut up. Stop. You can't keep chasing the tails on all these stories these guys build, but a lot of people do. Well, he wasn't a SEAL. Did he ever go to BUD/S? What difference does that make? But I do my best to verify it, but a lot of people want to chase down every lie a liar tells, and they will absolutely drive themselves insane doing it.
So basically,
liars lie.
Yeah, exactly. Now, do you think what was it? I think I overheard you saying, or somebody in your community was saying that that there's a joke among the SEAL community that if of all the there was only so many SEALs that ever served in Vietnam, and this guy met all 5,000 of them or something like that. He made a joke like that.
Yeah, I think that came from one of our original phony hunters.
Yeah. I can remember his name.
Less than 300 SEALs that ever served in Vietnam, and I've met all 10,000.
Yeah. That's what it was.
And,
so
there's less than
Go
270 SEALs that ever served in the 10-year conflict in Vietnam. But the way we're lavishing veterans today, I mean, we're really trying to take care of all our guys. These guys that were of that era, and the whole mystique, the jungle fighting mystique and the steamy jungles and the Viet Cong, there's no shortage of guys that want to get in on that. And so that's the number one claim of phonies for, that age group is I was a SEAL in Vietnam. Yeah. Okay. We'll see about that. But
so then, is it, I guess, is it a generational thing? Like the guys that were around in Vietnam that didn't do anything. I'm sure they served or something like that, but they didn't do any. Is it like a glory seeking thing? Is it a condition that the guys in that generation compared to the stolen valor that we have of our generation today? You know what I mean? Is it the same? Is that like some sort of psychology to them or something like that, or they're just straight freaking liars?
I don't. I'm speaking, and I can speak for the whole community. I don't get a lot of guys that really served like in Vietnam, whether they were on the riverboats or, doing armed forces radio in Da Nang or something like that, or young guys today that, actually served in Afghanistan or served in Iraq that are coming up with these ridiculous claims. It's guys that never did. Now, we'll get a smattering of stuff back from a guy, he's got a Vietnam service medal and he was claiming to be a SEAL, but it's not widespread. It's the guys that never left the country, like Phillips is a classic example of that. Or the guys that, never served a day in the Army or the Navy or anything, telling these crazy war stories in Iraq and Afghanistan, and we find they didn't serve, or, perhaps they were on a ship off the coast, or just weird stuff. It's never the guys that were. It's not all much of the guys that were ever really there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. The guys are. Now, do you think? I mean, your specialties though are the guys that are bragging about being a SEAL. Now, do you go back? Have you had guys that say that they were the first UDT that turned into SEALs? I mean, do you have guys that go that far back to try to trace a lineage back, or in other words, if there's
absolutely.
Has there been anybody that you've not like completely verified? Like, I can't get this guy. Fucking, I know he's full of shit, but there's nothing on him yet. Have you ever run into a situation like that?
A classic one was Earl Littman, Littman, I think, and it's the phony SEAL video Diane and I did about erectile dysfunction, and Earl was in there, and Earl just kept pushing my buttons. Now Earl was claiming to be a World War II on SEAL Team 1, and all these bullets flying around him as a medic and people dying all over the place. And Earl was trying to raise $1 billion a year. And it wasn't a bad concept. At any retail store that you went in, you'd give 2 cents. And if everybody in the country gave 2 cents to this thing, he'd be able to raise $1 billion. But Earl wasn't any of that. And so we pulled, and it's the World War II records that come back are really in depth. They're really quite detailed. And Earl never left the United States. He served during the World War II era time frame, but he was never any of that. He spent his time in New Jersey, and then he spent his time at Corpsman School in San Diego, but he never served on any of the beaches. The whole thing was a lie. And then I called Earl out on it, and I spoke to him on the phone, and I could hear him as I'm asking these questions of him, because you really want to be careful when you're getting back into World War II. You don't want to insult an old guy. You don't want to I don't treat people like that. I don't even know how to say it, but as I was asking Earl these questions to verify that, because World War II records can be a little sketchy sometimes. There were no computers. They're typed. They're written in pencil. Strange after-action reports and things like that. And I could hear him turning pages in a book. And as I was answering these questions, well, Earl, who was your commanding officer? Earl, who was that you go through training with? Can you name a couple of the guys in there? He's flipping through a book. And I said, Earl, you were reading that book, The Frogmen in World War II. I knew exactly what book he was reading. And he was pulling names out of there really quickly on that. And I let it kind of go. Enough damage had been done. And then Earl wrote a book. And he sent me that book, a personal autographed copy of that book. I'll think of the name of it here in a minute. It's Earl Littman. And he highlighted and bookmarked the chapter where all his records were sealed and classified. And that's when I said enough is enough. And we tied in the erectile dysfunction video up there with Earl in it. And you just didn't need to go that route. You had a good run. You're an old guy. You were very successful in life. Yeah. Why you would want to start claiming those things, trying to raise money? Now, that's no good either way you look at it.
Correct. I was about to say, so now, I guess he was like 88 years old or something like that.
Yeah. I think he's still kicking, He's done a lot of great things in his life. But, Earl, when you're starting to talk about raising $1 billion and you're telling people about people dying all around you and bullets whizzing past you on the beaches in World War II, we have a real problem. And financial incentives is really one of the big three of why these guys do that. I don't know that Earl was going to put that money to anything but good use. But when he dug his heels in with me and he was making, he's lying about it. Then, I mean, what are you supposed to believe? It's the whole thing a farce? I don't know.
Yeah. So then, now what access do you have? Do you just use a normal FOIA? Do you have access to? Are you building a roster? I mean, how do you go about what's the first thing that you do? I mean, I know there's some probably things you don't want to say on air due to the fact that people are going to lock their shit down if you say it on air. But do you have access to like a database? No. Do you have, or is it Google or what?
No, what happened here is this is how long the SEAL phony seal bit has been going on. It's been going on a very long time, and stolen valor goes back eons. I mean, to these battles with Romans and all that stuff, and guys saying they were there when they weren't, and all they could do was project it down a few stools at their local pub to the guy next to them in the village, things like that, and Thermopylae, just strange things that went on over years. This is not a new phenomenon. Guys saying they served at Gettysburg when they never did.
Yeah.
But it never got out. And then with the invent of the internet and Google, these guys could become anyone they want, and it would go worldwide with their claims. So what we have, because this phony seal bit, and I'm a young seal over there, loosening teeth on guys claiming to be SEALs. It's not a new phenomenon, but a Vietnam vet SEAL and his wife were given access to the Naval Special Warfare Center, where through World War II, Korea, Vietnam, to today's present day frogmen, there are records kept. And sometimes that comes as a surprise to people. But it really shouldn't. I mean, what you've done in the Army, there's all records kept of that. All the schools you've been to. I mean, who would not graduate from a school and a record be kept? I don't know how people can honestly believe that. But your voting record, criminal record, there are records kept. And SEAL training in the Navy, UDT training, is an unclassified military school. So his name is R.D. Russell. He's an ornery old Vietnam vet and a great guy. And him and his wife, painstakingly to combat this stolen valor, went through all the records and this is paper stuff, file cabinets filled, all the classes in World War II, all the classes in Korea, to Vietnam, up to present day, and they typed everyone's name out. They compiled this all into a sealed database, so that anytime, and a lot of the claims are kind of harmless things, where you tell me, my gym teacher used to say he was a SEAL. Can you verify that? Well, sure I can. I just check that database. And with the newly graduating classes, it's updated back to World War II and through Korea. My dad, I get it all the time. My husband just died. These are the terrible ones. My dad just died, and, we'd like some SEAL pallbearers, and, and no, he wasn't a SEAL. I mean, this guy lied to you all those years, and you handle that very gently with these people. But
of course,
it really impacts the women. She laid down with this guy for 50 years, and he is not who he said he was. So it's strange, but I simply check a name, and I can direct people to the POW network. POW is in Prisoner of War Network. And they will get his military records. I often get the military records when push comes to shove. I can do it quite quickly, but I deal with SEALs. So if you want somebody's Army record, this guy's claiming to be a sniper in the Army, or the Marines, or any of that, POW is in Prisoner of War Network. Mary will file for a Freedom of Information Act request on that guy. With very little information. He just needs a name, address, we have it. I mean, she can search all this stuff and find them.
Yeah.
And then she'll submit that. And the FOIAs come back, minus some Privacy Act information, and it's going to tell you everything you did, who you did it with, how long you did it for, awards, schools. I could pull yours tomorrow. You could pull mine tomorrow. It's a Freedom of Information Act. It's really simple stuff.
Yeah. And now, does it really? Is there? Because I know for the Army there was a incident. Well, not an incident. There was a fire at Fort Ben Harrison that had a lot of records that were burnt. So did any of that get caught up in that mix too, or were they all saved, or was it? You know what I mean? Is it hard when you hear to track down, or like you said, the schools usually have pretty good records of those that have graduated?
No, what happens, and we get a lot of the phonies that will claim that, my records were burnt in the fire in St. Louis, and that's what you're referring to. It's
Correct.
National Personnel Records Center, where all our stuff is on file. And in 1971, they had a fire there, and it destroyed a bunch of records, a lot of Army records, but they and a smattering of Air Force records. But they, on their website, if you get on the National Personnel Records Center or search that National Personnel Records Center fire, they will give you the alphabetical listing and the years for which these records were lost. So it will go from, I'm pulling this out now, from D to F of Army through 1950 to 1964. There have been records lost, but it will tell you. And if you can piece together when that guy actually did serve, it's easy, but they all claim that. Yeah. They all claim my records were burned.
Yeah. So tell us about the stolen Valor Act. I had played one of your videos at the beginning of the show, where you got that guy in the VFW, and when you said take off your fucking hat, and I even bought a paint scraper for all your freaking stickers that you have in the back of your car. Is it? I mean, are there people that are like at first kind of apprehensive about you coming in there, or are they like, oh shit, Don Shipley's here, you're fucked, or you know what I mean? What's the reaction when you arrive on scene? Because now you're doing it, you're literally are out there just doing it face to face. Like you'll fly out to a location and confront. So what's the reaction at first?
Are you talking to the person or the organization? Because what the one you're talking about with Lefebvre or whatever, it was Gary Roberts. I can't even pronounce that clown's last name. It was a VFW that asked us to come up, and he was just a bully.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And he was involved with the money there, and money was missing from the pull tabs and slots. And he had a seal glass, he had a seal ring. He was just abusive to people in there, especially the staff, the civilians that were working in there. It was just a cranky guy. And the guy that was running that VFW was a Marine Corps Vietnam vet who'd lost a leg over there. And you can't, those Marines, man, you watch out about Marines. Not only protect your wallet when you're around those guys, but they don't believe anything anybody says. And this guy was really worked up about that. And when things were coming to light, and they invited me up there, and he had forged a letter from President Reagan for his Navy Cross. He claimed he served in Vietnam. Well, he wasn't old enough to do that. He was just a regular clown in the fleet for a couple of years, and forged letters from Reagan, these Navy Cross citations, and that's what he submitted it. And the American Legions and VFWs, it's really tough in there. But I'll tell you where it gets tough for me and tough for the other guys is when someone's sitting there at that bar telling you all about their SEAL combat days and being awarded Navy crosses, and you're just a simple Marine Vietnam vet that lost his leg, and it downplays your service.
Correct.
Because this guy's a Navy SEAL, man, and it ain't getting any tougher than that. And he's got a Navy cross from the president because of all the combat. And what I do, I got my leg blown off from a booby trap. He downplays your service. When that sack of nuts never stepped foot in that country. And I just hate that stuff. So I was already pumped up for him when I went up there. I didn't like any of it. I'm even leaving a lot out of the strange things this guy was doing. But when he tried to just going to get out after we traveled all that way, no, you're not going anywhere, dude. You're going to talk to me about this. And we took care of it, man to man, seal to seal. That's what I always say. I don't know why these guys get all huffed and puffed and crying in their beer and calling, emailing YouTube and he's put a video up about me. We act like a guys you're impersonating and suck it up, Buttercup.
Right.
But they don't. They just cry. That's what they. Guys will tell you they're Navy SEALs. Now use this for SEALs, Special Forces, Rangers, the whole bit, the Marines, Army. When they're not actually what they say they are, they're doing that to build trust, and especially in the case of being a SEAL. It's the guy that's going to do some work on your house, pave your driveway, or do all this, and he tells you he was a Navy SEAL in Vietnam. He needs all the money up front, and then you never see him again. Something about that word SEAL builds trust. Oh, wow, I guess I better give him all the money. Or they're doing it to intimidate you. I can kill you with a rolled up newspaper, a plastic spoon. They're trying to back you down because, puff themselves up like a cat that's just encountered a dog. But the biggest one they do is to get respect that they don't deserve. And a lot of that goes toward women. You know, they'll tell them these horrible SEAL stories, the PTSD. They'll jump at doors being slammed. They'll have nightmares at night. You know, it's all an act. You know, all the horrors I've seen, the guys that have died around me, and they'll get into relationships with these girls, and it goes bad, but they all blame their drinking, the beatings, and the PTSD, all that on their SEAL, what the Navy did to me, and I just hate that. So.
No, we hate it too. We totally fucking hate that shit. Is there any push for? I know you talked about the stolen valor laws and all that. Do you think they've gotten stricter, or do you think that they need to be more more strict? I mean, you think they're good enough, or do you think they need to be more strict?
I work with a lot of law enforcement. I've got a great counterpart at the FBI that deals with stolen valor. And we're always sending each other different things. He's a great guy. But I, unfortunately, be quite honest, most times it's going to get nothing more than a ticket for spitting on the sidewalk. There's just not enough hours in the day for law enforcement and the FBI when they're trying to prevent all these other horrible crimes. For guys parading around in the Rose Bowl parade in a Navy uniform and stuff. And it's left up to guys like me and a handful of others to call them out and post them up, which I call professionally.
Correct.
You know, that we are very thorough. We're very detailed with what we do. We don't fly off the handle. We don't go nutty and make mistakes. You know, I've never made one.
Correct.
And now, I guess while we're on that, is a whole nother era of people, because of what I and others have done on the internet, that are making some horrible, horrible mistakes and calling out people in airports and at basketball games and everything. Guys merely wearing a SEAL shirt or a Marine Corps hat. Fathers that their sons are in the Marine, they call them out, they make a big deal. And why do they do that? Well, they've seen some of the attention that we get. And normally before any of that would happen, when you'd contact me about a fake SEAL, or, you know, this neighbor of mine's flying a SEAL flag, he tells me he's a SEAL, and I verify that for you, you wouldn't call him out. Most people do not like, and I don't like it either, confrontation. So perhaps you got a shot of loudmouth, a couple of bottles of Bruce Lee, and you at the American Legion a couple of weeks later, and you decided to call him out. But most people would not do that. It would just be between me and them and that guy, and he'd never know that you knew. Now people are doing some insanely terrible things that's completely undermining what we're trying to do, you know, outing these guys, and you make mistakes.
No, you're correct. Yeah, you're correct. There was an article that was released about a year ago about a group of guys that were harassing this old Marine and calling him stolen valor when he was actually a Marine. Like he was in Guadalcanal or something like that. He was a legit Marine, and he was there at a service. And the guy just like, what the fuck? He's like, I'm your brothers, and like, you're stolen. These kids, they were like, you know, they're like you said, they're a younger generation, and they were hauling off on this old guy, and he was no shit, legit a Marine.
And a lot of it is guys who have never served in the military. It's kids, these YouTube punks, and things like that will really lay in. That's really where I started my own mini YouTube, a membership site. To get away from some of the bloodletting on YouTube, because these guys would go way over the top on anything. And I would post up a video of a phony who deserved it. He rated it. But what he didn't rate is you contacting his mother, his sister, you know, any of his family members, his employers. You know, I've already done what needs done. This is just educational. And that's really, I don't think, put up videos of a specific guy just to be like that to him. I am telling his story. So the next time you hear, you know, this guy's having his fingernails ripped out in North Korea as a SEAL, there's these crazy stories that they tell. it's going to stick in your head, and you're going to relate to it the next time you hear it, and maybe go, wow, maybe that guy isn't a SEAL. Maybe that guy isn't in Special Forces. It doesn't need to, be harassing his mother at 2:00 in the morning, for God's sake. So I basically got off of YouTube. I get up there a little bit now, but I post all that to it's phonyseals.com if you search that in your browser, to a more mature crowd. And I still get the word out, because whenever I post your name on my website, the membership website that's private unless you're a member, you're still hitting Google. I can put your name in there with 2 hours. You are blasted right to the top of Google. That's how powerful that site is. And it's Navy SEAL behind it, and phony POW, Navy SEAL guy, Vietnam vet dude. And when people search your name, that's the whole point of posting these guys, is to get their names up on the internet so that women and new business associates and things like that can see, okay, yeah, you've done this before. You're not who you say you are.
Well, and that's the thing. Did you expect? I mean, did you expect? Does everyone like take your name in vain? Well, I seen Don Shipley do it. I seen Don Shipley. He drops dimes on people. But do they ever use your? Have you heard anybody saying that about you, or use your name in vain to gain their own notoriety?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think about that. Of how. I've got, if you just search my name on YouTube, you'll see a lot of other guys that'll put these videos out about me. A lot of them not very flattering, because they're phonies that I've busted doing it. Because it comes with the territory. I'm a murderer, saboteur. I'm ripping off charity. All that. But there's a lot of guys that will use that to they'll use my name to try to get their YouTube video higher rankings or ratings. They'll use my tags and key lines and just keywords and just things like that. So when you see a video and it says Don Shipley, a lot of people will click on it. Well, it's got nothing to do with me. It's some twit starting trouble when he shouldn't be, and trying to pull that act. It's got to be done. I'll tell you how careful I am. I don't. The checks and double checks and triple checks and who you are that's sending me this information, and that you're not doing something to cause this guy stress when he doesn't deserve it, that you're not the one. I'm very, very careful with that. And so far it's worked out. It's worked out real well.
Because everyone gets their feelings hurt a lot, has anybody reported you as a cyberbully to stop you? I mean, is there that you're aware of anybody saying, "Oh, well, Don Shipley, he ruined my name," or something like that's trying to sue you or trying to hold you up in court for it?
Oh God, you've been living under a rock, bro.
I got to do the interview. I got to do the interview, bro. I have to do it, man. I got to do the interview. There's kids here that don't know believe it or not, that don't know who you are. So I mean, we got to get our audience out there, because they're aware, but they're not aware. But then they recognize you from the videos that you post, but vaguely. So I'm just curious, because the reason why is because while we were playing one of your videos, and the way Facebook works is that it caught up to us, and it cut our feed in the first hour of the show. And I was just wondering if anybody.
What does that mean?
That means that somebody reported the feed. That means somebody either didn't like what was displayed on video, didn't like what was said on air, and the algorithm cut us off for hate speech.
Oh, I don't. Doesn't surprise me. That's why I'm a bit careful on there. But yeah, these guys get when you pull the carpet out from underneath someone, when you call somebody a liar, they don't like that. And you really get them backed into a corner. It doesn't take a whole lot. I've been in YouTube prison a half a dozen times, where you'll click on your YouTube channel, and there's nothing but this big red letter up there that you've been cyber harassing this guy, and your video's removed, and then you got to take this little test that they give you of what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and then they suspend most of your shit for 6 months, put you in YouTube prison, and I get out, and I'm not going to stop, but I've gotten away from it because of not just that. I really work hard on the videos, and they just pull them down easy enough, and some of the other little Billy bastards that go nuts over stuff. But yeah, the lawsuits, strange stuff that they do. Dan Bernath, Wigenfeld, just all this group of these guys that just neither one of them, I ever did anything to. Others did, but they will. To answer your question, my name gets targeted a lot because it's one of the biggest, or perhaps the biggest, on the internet.
Yeah.
So if some other guy outs you over on one of these other military fraud exposure websites, sometimes they'll go after me to try to make an example and take down the whole stolen valor thing. And, there's no law against calling you a liar when you're lying. So,
correct.
Jimmy crack corn and I don't give a shit. That's my favorite line.
So when you do out
hey,
them,
I'm not going to stop.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't either, man. And you're really good at it. So now, once you out them, and once they're out and about and all that, do you hear reports? He's at it again. He's out doing.
Yeah.
Really, they recommit. Wow.
When I was younger into this thing, they always contact me. I will never contact you back once I out you or confront you or do anything. I will never email. I'll never respond to an email. I'll never take a phone. I'll never, because that can get twisted around with phone records. He's been calling my house and harassing my elderly mother. These guys are terrible. I'll never talk to you again, and I'll put it up. But early in my days, guys would write these really teary letters, my life's over, my ruin, my relationship, my children, everybody. And I would take the video down. 6 months later, somebody else would send me an email going, if I could verify this guy, he's making these outrageous claims. And I learned. I went from a virgin into a pretty tough guy here. And their leopards don't change their spots. They want you. They're not, and that's a narcissist and a sociopath. They're not, if you and I get caught into a lie, and most people, we're terribly embarrassed by it, and just want to hide our head in the sand. A narcissist and a sociopath, these big guys, they don't feel any empathy for anybody. They're just everybody's an empty shell to them. They're just too superior. And they're only mad that they got caught. There's not a bone in them for being sorry about any of it.
Right.
But they will convince you of that, and they'll really work on you that, I'll never do this again. And no. So, I don't know, but I do try to let the punishment fit the crime as to how far I'll go. Now, there's a couple of them that I've really gone over the top on. They're really going to smack you down. A.J. Dicken was one. And there's a good thing for your stolen valor law. A.J. Dicken ripped off 16 African nations in 2 positions for $400 million. And all they got him for and sent him to jail for was a felon in possession of automatic weapons. And all that is there was a videotape of him teaching shooting courses with these guns that he wasn't supposed to have. That's how gifted. And AJ, by his own admission, had been claimed to have been a SEAL Master Chief. He killed Bin Laden, Dev Group, for 35 years. And you get good. That's how he earned his living. And that's how a lot of these guys eat. That's how they feed their family, by telling these lies. I mean, that's their trade. And AJ, I went to work on him for 3 years. Bill Brockbrader was another one. He was terribly difficult to nut to crack because he had that old tin hat society backing him, but these strange aliens teaching him at Area 51 and all that. SEAL Team 9 and stuff. And there was a lot of people that believed that they erased his records, and they watched Men in Black. They watched Jason Bourne. They don't trust the government. And they're very hard, and I will go above and beyond. And AJ Bill Brockler was just a dumbass, but AJ Dicken was very gifted at what he did. And when I would confront those physicians that were giving him money, this African thing, they'd go, we're not talking to you anymore. AJ told us that he threw you out of SEAL Team 6 for being a coward. And I'd go, oh, my God, Doc.
Oh, wow.
I told that. That was the last thing I told him. He kept coming back with this stuff. even to the point one of those doctors told me, I've given him a full physical, and AJ told us he breath held down on an Iraqi oil platform 200 feet and detonated explosives, and it blew his eardrums out. And he said, I've given him a full physical. His eardrums have never been blown out. And I'd go, see, Doc, see, you hear what you're saying to me? And the next week he'd call back and go, hey, he told me he threw you out of SEAL Team 6 for being a coward. I'd go, oh, my gosh.
Oh,
and the last thing I said to that guy was, I said, Doc, you're not the stupidest guy in America, but you are the stupidest guy in Utah, and you will call me back someday, and you will apologize when you've lost your last dime to that guy. And he did. He called me back. He goes, yeah, they did the ABC 2020 special, and AJ just died last year, so yeah, it goes on.
Yeah, but, I hear you.
Yeah, I like punishment for the crime, and I don't go after all these guys too. Just because you call, if people really push me into one of them, that they've really hurt a lot of people, and that there is meat on the bone, because you can't really do a YouTube video without having a lot of pictures and things. Just because your neighbor's claiming to be a SEAL, I'm going to verify it for you, and I'm out of it. I deal with this dozen times a day, but no, I just don't go after all of them. I'll go after them hard, the ones that rate it, and that's it.
So tell us about, and we also wanted to talk to you about your other stuff that you got going on. You got the Extreme SEAL Experience. Tell us about.
Well, what we did. I retired from the Navy. I contracted with Blackwater, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and we did real well there. And we got into real estate, my wife and I, and we started Extreme SEAL Experience, which was a training course for young guys, we thought, that aspired to be Navy SEALs, because I had run a similar course in the Navy for little Navy Sea cadets. I'd put them through 2 weeks of like BUDS training and all that cool stuff, and the guns and tough stuff. And my first course, when we went public with that, I had a 40-some-year-old South African carpet maker in it. And I realized this is where this is going to go. This isn't for these young guys. I put a couple of 70-year-olds through, Vietnam vets, Australian, SAS guys from China, Japan, Norway. They came from all over the world. We did it for 10 years, and I was very flattered by it. And they would come back. Who travels from China to go through a course like that I'm saying is all this? And we had a great time with it. But my wife and I were getting older, getting tired, and we bought a property up on the eastern shore of Maryland. And it's a beautiful waterfront farm, hunting property, geese, the ducks, the deer, the turkey, and we started Extreme SEAL Adventures. So everything's off of Extreme SEAL Experience initially. And it's a charity that we run up here, and we just take all the wounded guys out and just do some really cool things with those guys.
Now,
and
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And then we started the video website, and that's really where our bread gets buttered, is doing the video website, and that's videos.extremesealexperience.com. It's the membership site, and we're posting up daily videos up there. What goes on around here, our successes, our failures. It's a big deal running this farm up here and bringing these guys down and getting them their birds, and all the things that we go through for. Diane's been with me since the beginning. I met her in the Navy. We've been together for 40 years and raised our SEAL son, and our daughter's married to a SEAL, and the big family thing. She's very tough. So we do that, and we find those ponies on there.
Yeah, we saw that. We like I said, I posted the video in the beginning of the show earlier in the first hour, and you guys are you guys doing specifically your nonprofit to help wounded? You said wounded SEALs. I mean, what's involved in the curricula? What do you guys do?
I bring them down here and I put them on the birds, man. That's what we do. I take kids. We've always had a real soft spot for kids with cancer. I just hate that disease, especially with the kids. They're just kids that are sick. And I like seeing those little smiling faces. And we just had a great time with the kids this year. But the wounded vets, SEALs, Marines, the Army we've had down here, we've about had it all. And we're into our third year and stepping this up. So we've got a big old barn on the property, and it's got this beautiful 4-bedroom apartment above it. And we get the wounded guys in there, and we just hunt geese and ducks and booze it up and just eat some great food that Diane cooks. And there's no real program to it. You know, the program is just coming down here and, you know, relaxing for a bit. So we're not into any of this therapy or, you know, yoga, stretching with these guys. They've been through a lot. You know, come down and we're just going to shoot some turkeys or some geese, and we've been real successful and put a lot of double amputees through. Some really big names of guys that have been through, and
that's good.
Guys you won't know much about. So it's worked out real well. We've had a lot of fun with it. But the video membership site, phonyseals.com, is where our bread gets buttered now, and affords us the opportunity to share this out here. You know, the jet skis, the crabs, the fishing. You know, it's Maryland, this Eastern Shore, all the oysters you can eat, and
of course,
just have a great time.
Now this is at no cost to the individual showing up to visit. So if because we have your links, we have your link posted up on the site right now. So anybody who's following us on WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments, we got about 1 million followers and shit. So we got your link posted up on there, man. Is it
No, they don't need to do anything.
Oh wow,
nothing. No, we'll fly them in or get them up here and reimburse them for gas. We bring the families up, which is the winter time is for the guys.
Yeah,
really. Now we've put some gals through up here and the wives and want to duck hunt and things like that. But the summertime is really for the families, and Diane gives them a few $100 to go out in town and get the kids their favorite food and things like that. And you know, the barn is fully furnished, man. Your stove and everything, and the pool, the jet skis. So they bring the kids down in the summer, and they just, I mean, you can't get in any trouble down here. Everybody, if you call them neighbors, all the neighboring farms, everybody's afraid of me down here. So nobody messes with anybody on the property.
And you got guns.
And guys just have a great time. You know, come down, unwind with the family, and they take their, a lot of their meals with us, and we just hang out, relax, go fishing, things like that. So, and Cambridge, Maryland is perhaps one of the most patriotic places on this planet. They're like Stepford people around here. You know, they're just so nice, so decent, flag waving. You think they've all been drugged with something, but boy, do they love their veterans. And the other farms, you know, we work with a lot of farms, and they'll just rip your arm off to get these guys out and take them hunting. So it all works. Everything is. I've been very fortunate in my life. I was somehow fortunate enough to make it through SEAL training when most guys did not, and gone on to these great things. And it's just been fantastic. But I got a good wingman next to me with Diane, and she's tough. So it works.
That's what I'm talking about. We've got a question with one of the chats. Is, were there any SEALs that served in Korea?
No, there were no SEALs that served in Korea. The SEAL teams didn't get their start until 1961, but there was a lot of frogmen, underwater demolition teams. And Korea is really where those guys got their start coming ashore. I've done some really good videos up on YouTube of I've interviewed frogmen from World War II, Iwo Jima. I've interviewed Korean-era frogmen, Vietnam vet SEALs, dog handlers. I've interviewed snipers, buds instructors, just everything you can imagine. But that's really when the guys first came ashore and started doing saboteur ops and blowing up bridges and railroad tunnels and tracks and things like that for the North Koreans. And it was amazing. They hear these guys, the interviews with them, talking about stealing Marine Corps uniforms. They had nothing. And the first class 0, we called it, and that was in 1950 when we started numbering the classes. They had no formal graduation. They got no certificate. Them and all the instructors went straight to Korea and fought in that conflict. and they had nothing. They would steal uniforms from the Marines, and they would go out on these patrols with a bunch of demolitions. Maybe one or two of them would have a 45. Someone else would have a grease gun, and that was it. And it was just that terrible cold water. And from those guys, we've evolved into the SEALs from today. So World War II, were underwater demolition and some other predecessor units, but SEALs got their start in Vietnam.
Gotcha. One other question in the chat: did you ever have an opportunity to meet Chris Kyle?
No, I did not. And unfortunately, I get so many requests, and I'm dealing with a real clown right now that claims that he taught Chris Kyle. You would be amazed at how many guys say they taught Chris Kyle how to be a sniper. These phony SEALs, and it drives me nuts. And you ever see the Pumpkinhead video I did? It's you can get up there, phony Navy SEAL of the week, the Pumpkinhead SEAL, when he was talking about being a BUD/S instructor for Luttrell, Marcus Luttrell, and I called Luttrell on the phone the other line.
Nice. Nice.
Luttrell went at him, because I know Marcus and Morgan real well, and Marcus got on the phone and went up one side of that clown and down the other. So I don't know. Funny stuff. But no, I never met Chris, unfortunately. And I didn't.
Gotcha. Well, hey, Senior Chief, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's been an honor. You are definitely we totally appreciate what you're doing for the SEAL and the Special Operations community. What you're doing for vets, it's incredible. We like I said, we got your website already, the extremesealexperience.com. So it's already posted on our post. And so you also have this podcast coming. Are you? Did you ever write a book? I mean, that's like a SEAL thing to do, right? To write a book. Have you ever written one?
There's not enough hours in the day, man. I'm trying to retire and just take guys goose hunting. That's all one day I'm going to take this cell phone, I'm going to throw it in the bay out here, and the computer right with it. And I just want to take guys out goose and duck hunting. That's all. I blow a goose call for the rest of my life and live in peace and get away from these ponies. So.
That's what I hear. Oh man, I hear.
The website is we don't run Extreme SEAL Experience. It's still up there, but it's extremesealadventures.com. It's a charity website. And the website for the membership is videos.extremesealexperience.com, or you can just type phonyseals.com into your browser and you'll go there. I appreciate the support, and I appreciate what you guys do. You're thanking me for what I do, but you guys are doing a big service to all these guys. You obviously have a large following because you put out some good, accurate gouge, and it's no different than what I do. You guys are doing the same thing. Put out some good stuff for people to learn from, so good for you guys.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, Senior Chief. You have a good night.
All right, badass. Thanks for having me on.
All right, take it easy. Good night. Oh, man, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We're going to be back for the part 3 of the Monday edition with Flash and Spanky and myself, so shots.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
But looking up and fading out, cirrus shapes I found, blow me away, Van Allen right around, pushing through, skin is brown, nature has us trapped in fear, so I get lost in sound. I wonder if you'll ever know why I am the way I am. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life is never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Constellation theme, mapping stars they're meant to be. Geminis are free of suicidal kings. This misty maze of me, so obvious yet never seen. Feeling though the fog will lift to find me lost at sea. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life is never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? Myself and I am so lost, it's beautiful, far away from life, but I want your visible feeling to be mine. Oh, I just don't get it. When will your heart beat with my mind? Oh, I've been thinking a lot. I've been thinking a lot about time and space surrounding. Is there anyone who is thinking like me? I've been thinking a lot about life that's never ending. Is there anyone who is thinking like me?
What is this Facebook Live? I've never heard of this shit.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
Please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back for part 3 of the Monday edition with myself, Flash, and Spanky. Manning the guns. Rocking and rolling. That was our guest, Don. Don Shipley. Oh, man. It's totally appreciative that he came on. It's not every day we get someone of his caliber to come on to talk about some of the stuff about stolen valor and all that. There was a group, I guess, a while back. They never got back with me. They were going to do one for Leos, but then I guess they petered out. So people who say that they were cops.
It happens.
But, yeah. So I was like, okay, whatever. But no, that again, check out. We've updated the post onto the Facebook Live stream. So if you go to U.S. Army WTF Months, if you're listening to the main page and you're grabbing from there, what's up, Terry? You'll see video.extremesealexperience.com. That's his. That's one of the. That's on here right there. So we'll get them squared away and get them changed up so that way we can get them logged in. Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. I'm kind of awestruck due to the fact that he was.
You're fangirling a little bit.
I'm fangirling a little bit because he was in the news, man. He was all he did was just someone said,
He
hey,
is the news.
yeah, no. Well, it was funny because way he said it, somebody called me up and said, check this guy out, and there you go, changed the entire discourse. Just changed it. Just changed it all. It was awesome. I love it. I think it was funny. So, but like I said, that video that you saw in the beginning of the show, more than likely that's what probably got us zucked. For some reason, I have no issues on Sardenstein. Hell, we were even playing some spooky tinfoil stuff over the weekend when I sat in for J Ready. Nothing. We do this. It's always the Monday edition that gets. I don't know what it is about the Monday edition that always gets jinxed for something we say.
Because we're the smartest vet show on Facebook, on social media. No offense to the other vet stations that we talk to on Twitter. We love you guys. Rock and Doc, we love you guys, but we're smarter and prettier. At least I am. I'm adorable.
Oh my God.
Just gonna say, there's a reason why on public affairs. Like, they make sure you're not like you. We send all the ugly folks to Comcam
and radio. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Public affairs.
Yeah, public affairs. Yeah. There you go. Keep saying it.
You gotta be at least decently looking. You have to be a C+ or better. I'm around like the B-. So we're okay. We're I got those like damn adorable like features that help me out.
God. Whatever. Anyways, yeah. Oh, okay. So it's kind of...
I switched to vodka, so now I'm like, having a good time.
Decided to tie one on, huh?
Shoot, I mean, man, I had two tequila drinks before we even started talking about the freaking what do you call it? Before we even started talking about the shit show that is the Commonwealth of Virginia, and we're gonna talk more shit shows, or at least we're gonna talk more of a crowded shit show. Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Real quick, breaking news right now. I guess D. Treacy is in El Paso.
He is in El Paso doing his first official campaign rally, which it seems like every time he talks to the public, it sounds like a campaign rally. But this apparently is the first one. They think Beto is going to make Beto or Bato or Bono or whatever is going to make is going to try to steal his thunder while he's in El Paso to kind of make a name, because they're hoping. There's a lot of Democrats that are hoping that Beto O'Rourke, or whatever the hell his name is going to run for president. So should be good. Oh, also other breaking news, especially if you work for the federal government, about 40 minutes ago, that 4 top negotiators discussing border security and stuff that is the linchpin for the potential government shutdown that's supposed to happen like Friday. Right now, there's an agreement in principle. So apparently enough has been given both ways that, one, the border issue, at least, I don't know if it's a short term or long term, or this is it. It's going to be, it potentially could be done, and there won't be another government shutdown. So all those folks that had to survive on, without a month's worth of pay, and a lot of places only got like 80% back because they don't want to overpay anyone. So they only gave them 80%, and then they're going to fix them after the next pay period. But supposedly, the top negotiators are saying that we have an agreement in place, so we might avoid another shutdown this Friday. Yay!
Oh, yeah, that's right. There was supposed to be a shutdown coming up this Friday, right? That was going to be...
Yeah, there's another fucking shutdown. We all keep forgetting that.
Because of the... Yeah, well, I mean, what's supposed to be happening in this new thing? What's solving... What's going to be solved? What's going to be solved? What is it?
Right now, it's very hushed. There's been no indication of concessions either which way. I know that there was they thought they were getting close to a deal, and then they said that things were falling apart because of how many people they were allowed to detain at a time, and then they went back into the room. So I hand to these guys, negotiating is a very interesting art form, especially when both sides don't want to give an inch on anything. So if this, even if the negotiators come to an agreement, which you assume they're acting on behalf of their side, that hopefully this will be done. I know there's probably, what to me will be interesting if there's any concessions on actual money for the border wall at all. And what will the Democrats get out of it in order to make that happen? You have AOC who was saying, oh, instead of sending money for the border wall, we should send more caseworkers down there. And then a friend of mine is like, that's a great idea, but I'm a caseworker, and we have like shelves of stuff we're working through right now. There are no caseworkers. So it's while it's some people think that the which I would agree with that if there was like an abundance of caseworkers that weren't doing anything. I got you, but so there's a lot going on. Whether some stuff with the Dream Act, with Dreamers, maybe there instead of being a temporary, you're good to go, it'll be a path to citizenship. We don't know what this is going to be out yet, so stay tuned for more stuff. But I'm kind of interested to see. An agreement in principle is close, and I like that.
Well, that's what they were talking about. They were talking about the extension of the DACA recipients. They're now an extension because the entire time of them being close to 20 or some shit like that, close to 25 now. For some of the DACA recipients, they're extending their time. What's there to extend? That's my question. What's there to extend? What do they got to do?
My only problem with the whole DACA thing is D. Treasy came out and said, hey, you give me my money for the border wall, I will grant temporary, but they don't want temporary. This is just like, they don't want we're not going to put a styrofoam wall and then maybe, we're going to put a real one down there. They want a permanent solution for this. They want a permanent wall. Well, when it comes to the kids, now I don't blame the kids. They didn't come over here on, they had no choice. I'm not saying that you're automatically citizens, but it just flashes opinion. You got these people who, by no fault of their own, are here in the U.S. soil now. You can't send them back to a place they don't know. That'd be like sending me back to Germany when I was there, because I was there as a kid. And now I'm here, but you're sending me back to Germany because I'm German. So ain't going to work because I can barely speak a lick of German, and I've lived there again as an adult. I could see a path to citizenship, and I hope if the Democrats would even concede on money for the wall, they get something big in return like that, which will be huge. It'll be huge if they get something. They can't even do it as like weird as he does.
Yeah, really got to say huge.
With my big hands and my spray tan face.
I'm sorry. Awesome come over.
I still think about like when Marco Rubio made that dig about his pores are clogged from the spray tan. It's like
Yeah.
And that's when I knew Donald Trump was going to win the primaries, because when people start stooping to his level, they've already lost. So, anyways, speaking of presidential, holy crap. Do you know how many people have committed already to running against Donald Trump right now?
Yeah, I was about to say, isn't there like almost 20?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 right now for the Democrats. So the latest was, we have the updates right here. We have Andrew Yang. He's a Democrat. He's an entrepreneur from New York. He filed to run for president on November 6th back in last year. We have Marianne Williamson, an author and lecturer, announced that she was running for president January 28th. She's also a Democrat. Elizabeth Warren, U.S. Senator from Massachusetts, who apologized to the Cherokee Nation, especially after more stuff came out of that she put that she's an American Indian on like her Texas Bar Association stuff.
Why do they keep just talking? They've not even heard out of sight, out of mind. Like it's almost like you had a couple of beers and you walk up to a cop and say, I've had 2 beers and I'm getting ready to go in my car. Why
I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I'm pretty sure she didn't. I don't know whether the apology was a smart move or not, but I know it wasn't her putting out the information on that. But she officially announced on February 9th, Donald Trump, we know he's right now running unopposed. We have Kamala Harris, who's a Democrat, U.S. Senator from California. Now she's running on January 21st. Kristen Gillibrand, the U.S. Senator from New York, announced she's running for president on the 15th of January. Tulsa Gabbard, here we go, sorry. U.S. Representative from Hawaii announced that she has decided to run for president on January 11th, 2019. She is she's the vet coming up from Hawaii, but she's got her own little controversy. Apparently she made some anti-LGBTQ plus, holy crap, I remember the plus this time, comments back when.
What did she say?
Honestly, I'd have to look it up because I'm trying to remember all this. I have like 4 different things.
You're trying to
open
keep.
right
You're
now.
trying to keep up on your controversies, man. Come on.
There's some, but she came out, said she did it, said she apologized, said she's working to better the LGBTQ community. So she's doing what Ralph Northam should have done and just moved to forward. Whatever. You have John Delaney. He's a former U.S. representative from Maryland. He filed to run on August 10th, 2017. Julian Castro, if you remember, he's a former U.S. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development and the San Antonio mayor, formally announced his candidacy on January 12th. Pete Buttigieg, a mayor from South Bend, Indiana, announced he was running for president. He is one of the things cool about him is he's both a U.S. veteran and he's gay. Good for you. Cory Booker, a U.S. senator from New Jersey, announced he was running for president on February 1st. The only controversy around him is he's single, and they're like, is America ready for their first single president? It's like, who cares?
Well,
and
I mean, JFK was sort of kind of single. I mean, he was
in an open relationship.
He was the father that everything was woo woo woo. That was all JFK. You know what I mean?
And then we have the latest is a U.S. senator from Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar. Formally announced she was running on February 10th next to the Mississippi River in a giant ass snowstorm. So that was kind of crazy. And but there's 11 confirmed for the Democrats. What's even more shocking is how many more that people think will run. Just I'll name off a couple because you'll know them. Stacey Abrams, she made the rebuttal for the State of the Union address. A lot of people think that. Some people think that she's going to wait and she's going to run for the Senate in Georgia. Other people think that they're propping her up to run for president. Joe Biden still is on the fence whether he will or will not.
Touchy Joe.
Sherrod Brown he's a senator from Ohio. Jerry Brown, former governor of California. God. Michael Bloomberg, fuck that guy. Let's see. Hillary Clinton. There's still, I know. Apparently, sources say that she's still doing exploratory whether to run or not. God, I hope not, because she won't even. I don't even think she'll make it to like the final 5. Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York. Andrew Gillum, the former mayor of Tallahassee, the one who lost to the governor or the now governor. Let's see who else. Eric Holder, former Attorney General of the United States. Tim Kaine, the U.S. senator from Virginia, because losing the vice presidency, you might win the presidency. Go for it. John Kerry is expected to run again.
Oh, God.
Let's see. Beto O'Rourke, they're wondering about him.
The saw puppet.
Bernie Sanders, he's yet to say whether he will or will not. Sally Yates, former acting attorney general.
Fuck you, Flash. I'm running again, Flash. Fuck off.
And there's let's see. How many did I not mention? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Holy shit. It's a lot. It's like the senator from New Hampshire, former governor of Colorado, the senator from Hawaii. There's so many people that potentially could be running that this is going to be a really crowded field. Now, don't think that this is there also speculation Michelle Obama might run. Oprah Winfrey might run. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has said he's keeping his mind open about it. I'd vote for him off the start.
Yep.
As long as his first thing is, I will give everyone a workout program. I want to be jacked like him.
Exactly. Can you smell what the votes are cooking? That's what I would fucking. That's what I'd be fucking. That's my line right there. I already claimed it too. Trademark already.
February 11th, 2019.
Yeah, at approximately 22:21 Eastern Standard Time. Can you smell what the vote is cooking? What the votes are cooking? What the votes are cooking?
I'm totally putting that on Twitter. Bill Gates. They say that he might actually run. But here's the big thing. Potential Republican presidential candidates that could run against Donald Trump in the primaries. Remember, just because you're the president does not mean you're automatic shoo-in for the Republican or for whatever your party's nomination, primary nomination for the next election. If you want a good example of what happens if you watch House of Cards, I think it's like the 4th season where the main character is going for re-election, and he has an actual you still have to win your primaries, so he very potentially Donald Trump could be like one of the, and yeah, most of the times no one will run against the sitting president because it causes divide and stuff like that. But because of the nature of this administration and how polar, in some aspects it can be, it's very likely. I'm not saying it's very plausible that this could happen. Now, who would run against the president? Well, there's a couple. John Kasich, he ran last year, former governor of Ohio.
He won't do good.
Scott Walker, former governor of Wisconsin.
Won't do good.
Larry Hogan, the governor of Maryland.
Won't do good.
See, I don't know about that because Larry Hogan has got his reelection in Maryland, which is a very blue state. He's a Republican in a blue state, and no matter what they throw at him, Larry Hogan seems to do a really good job. And he's probably, if anyone's going to run against Donald Trump, he would be one of my top three. They also have Ted Cruz because, Ted, of course, he's going to run. But, Tom Cotton, U.S. Senator from Arkansas. Bob Corker, former U.S. Senator from Tennessee.
I think Tom Cotton could be a contender.
He's in my top. And then Nikki Haley, former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations and former governor of South Carolina.
I can see that.
So that's really my top three, honestly. It's Larry Hogan, Nikki Haley, and Tom Cotton. I said Mo Brooks. Suzanne Martinez, former governor of New Mexico. And then there's some speculations if Mike Pence would actually run against him. I honestly don't think he's going to keep Mike Pence as a vice president, to be honest. But I could see Mike Pence running against him in the primaries. And then Ben Sasse, he's the U.S. Senator from Nebraska. So those are some of the names of people that potentially could run against Donald Trump in the 2020 primaries.
Well, like you were saying,
interesting.
See, here's the thing. I think what's going to happen is I think there's going to be a split with the Republican Party, just like there's a split with how the Democratic, the Dems. Here's what's happening. Nobody wants this dude who runs Starbucks, the CEO of Starbucks. They immediately, as soon as he announced as a centrist independent, everyone lost their shit and said, if you do that, you're going to take votes away from somebody else. And I'm thinking, the whole idea.
They pretty much said that if you actually run this campaign, Donald Trump will win again.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. And the thing, I have a feeling what's going to happen with D. Treasy is the Moggins, are going to go nuts, and they're going to, the MAGA hat wearers and everybody who's like totally Team Trump. They're gonna fucking lose their shit and say that anybody runs against Trump, they're taking votes away from him. So you're going to see, it's going to be interesting because you're going to see both parties now divide like crazy. And there's going to be so much fucking back and forth. And the reason why I say that it's going to be an issue with the debates is that I think the president might have an advantage on individuals because he has inside knowledge of individuals that have voted against him. And he'll use that during the campaign trail for the primaries. You know what I mean? And then...
Yeah,
and then during the actual the debates between the nominated him if he is one, and then anybody from the Democratic side, they're gonna have to keep up with his barbs. So Kamala Harris, and this is just my thing, the contenders to be able to keep up with him is Kamala Harris, I think, fucking Cory Booker, maybe Tim Kaine. That can keep up with the savageness of his fucking barbs. You know what I mean? He's going to be... I'm telling you, I think Kamala Harris and Cory Booker, I think, will be the only ones... I'm not saying that I think they'll reach the level because Cory Booker right now is running a... Yes, we're trying to be united. Everyone, let's be united, and we're good to go with being united. And everyone's thinking about, okay, fucking Cory Booker's going to be a nice guy. We've seen him now in the Kavanaugh fucking hearing. We've seen him now testify, in front of other committees. He's not.
I will be Spartacus.
Yeah. He's not going to be cool. He's not going to be all nice and all that shit. Once the debates happen, and this is where the popcorn's going to be awesome and tasty, is that everyone's going to be turning on each other so fucking bad that you're going to be seeing everyone's true angry, like you're going to see like angry Booker, angry Kamala. You're going to see they're going to be pissed. And the president, he's the master of fucking poking, getting your buttons poked. He's going to fucking do it. And I don't think anybody else can keep up but those three.
Well, when it comes to like the Democrat ticket right now, there's a lot of names. Julian Castro, I'm not really taking serious.
Neither am I.
Elizabeth Warren, I know.
Neither
like everyone's like, like the Hillary Clinton of last election, where she deserves it. She won't. I don't think she's going to last very long because there's too much controversy about saying that, the whole Native American thing, which is pretty much like, it's me saying, oh, I'm black in all my applications and stuff to get like grants and shit, but I'm not. Andrew Yang, no. Mariana Williamson, no. I don't think John Delaney or Pete Buttigieg, I don't think he's going to last long. Tulsa Gabbard from Hawaii, I don't think she's got enough behind her. For me, looking at it's Kristen Gillibrand, Kamala Harris, Cory Booker, and then who I think might be able to actually not only get elected, win the primary, but actually be elected is Amy Klobuchar. She's the senator who announced in the snow.
Yes. I was about to say she stood out during the blizzard and was completely covered in snow.
Which was really cool. You can't predict the weather. The big thing with her is she's actually one of those. She's actually one of the Democrats who have done a lot of bills and stuff with people across the aisle. She has a track record of working with both Republicans, working with Democrats and working with Republicans,
with
which
results.
Makes Republicans, with results, and which makes Republicans. There was an article on CNN going, some of her biggest backers are Republicans. To me, this is where Flash stands on everything. If you do not, a lot of people feel that our administration and some of the policies have gone really far right. And most people are really in the middle. It's just the loudest voices are on the far left or on the far right. I think that a lot of people, I know it would be hard for me to vote for a Democrat because a lot of them I'm just like, but it's even harder for me to vote for Donald Trump. I don't even care. You can be mad at me all you want. But if you're going to find someone who really wants to go off we're going to work together, we're going to heal. The only person who's really got a track record, and it isn't just a mouthpiece, that I feel like Cory Booker is kind of a mouthpiece, Kamala Harris is, even Gillibrand's kind of a mouthpiece. Amy Klobuchar is the only one, to me, that has a track record of working together, which we've talked before, and I've said that there's a lost art of compromise and working together in D.C., and I could support someone who has a track record of working across the aisle, not just saying they will, because everyone says we're going to work, we'll make bipartisan whatever, and then when they get down to it, if they control everything, they're like, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's all Congress anyways. That's why everyone's pissed off at Congress.
And this is why we can't get anything done right now, because there is no, we're have to worry about a second shutdown after people are already like licking their wounds from, the biggest shutdown we've ever had because the House and Senate aren't under the same flag. And now we, in the sense of party control, I want to specify that. But I think Amy is the only one that I feel that has a track record of working together. And I think that right there will pull the Republicans, the GOP folks that are kind of, the disenfranchised or feel like the president is he's becoming not what they thought he was going to be or whatever. I think she could actually pull a lot more votes from the GOP, especially if any GOP comes out and says they support her, which you never know. And you might see someone who's like really anti-Trump that goes, I like her. I think she'd be a good president. I think that kind of track record of compromise, and she's very, you hear some of the hearings and stuff like that. She's very straight shooter. And I appreciate that. She doesn't try. She's not a big backhanded kind of person. There is a problem though. An article came out saying that apparently she's abused her staff and yelled and stuff like that. So much so that Harry Reid, which I'm so glad that guy's just disappeared, has actually had to be like, hey, you need to calm down with your folks. But right now, that's the only thing over and over her head. And I guarantee, like we said, the Democrats are going to start eating their own to scrape their way to the top the same way the Republicans did, trying to, push up against Donald Trump to even survive. Because everyone thought, oh, we're going to be civil. And then as soon as Donald Trump said, I ain't playing by your rules, it was chaos and he won. But I think it's, those are my top four of the declared right now. But I could honestly, like, just looking off of one of the things that I noticed was when Amy would actually did her, in the snow, her announcement, she actually started giving out policies. This is what I want to do. This is what my administration will do. This is what we don't do the first 100 days. I'm like, damn, she's already like, it's kind of like when you had, I had a first sergeant who said, don't just look at getting sergeant, look at how you get staff sergeant when you're a specialist. Always work 2 ranks ahead. She's already like, I'm already the president. This is what we're going to do. And that's just something that Cory Booker and Camille Harris really, they kind of touched on, but not anything that I felt very definitive. But those are my 4. Kirsten Gillibrand.
Yes, but you
Andy
said something.
Clark, Camille Harris, and Cory Booker.
You said something that was key. You had something that is going to cause a bunch of chaos. There is rumors abound that there could be a mad dog. Mattis.
Oh, that would be awesome.
It would be. You think? I mean, because now he's gone silent, and now there's rumoring. There's also some rumorings about other admirals that are and generals that are out that could run as well. So here's
Mad Dog 2020.
Yeah. So here's my ticket. Here's my ticket. If for any of the generals, I could see, and here's just me. I could see and take your pick, either vice president or president. These 2 individuals will be interchangeable, and that's Admiral McRaven and General Mattis. Those are the 2 right there. I could see, maybe General Kelly in there too. I don't know about Flynn, and I don't know about McChrystal.
Well, Flynn can't. He's in trouble.
Yeah.
I could see McChrystal. As much as I love Mattis, I don't see him as a presidential candidate. I see him as a vice president.
You think so?
Nothing against him. It's just him. He's more of the guy who would rather go and get he's almost like he was almost a sergeant. For me, it felt like
he was an NCO.
Sergeant. He's a sergeant major in a general uniform.
Yeah, I got you. No, I can see that.
That's just the way he's kind of run, and I could see him, doing pretty much revolutionizing how vice presidents work, because the vice president's supposed to work with Congress.
Correct. Yeah.
I could see him be like, I'm going to be at every fucking meeting.
Because I can see Colin Powell.
What's up, folks?
I can see Colin Powell coming back as Secretary of State again.
Yeah.
I could see or be part of the chief of staff, or be the White House chief of staff. If there was anybody else, because I'll be honest with you, from what I've seen, I could see General Hertling be General Hertling being Secretary of State as well. I'm just seeing that although hell, even I almost think that General Dempsey would be a good Secretary of State, or he would be a vice president. You know what I mean? All I see is all those individuals mixed up. Oh, I'm kind of partial. I've served with all of them, so except for Mattis. So I could see the you kind of, and everyone's seen how they practice how they've done their policies, or how they've commanded, and everyone who's served under them in their commands. They don't seem like, you don't see, the only person I see is really outspoken a lot more is General Hertling than I do, and then McChrystal. So McChrystal and Hertling are the ones that are really the ones that would say some shit. I haven't seen anything from Mattis, because obviously he's a quiet professional about that, I guess. McRaven has when he pulled himself out of I can't remember what it was. It was a committee that was run by shit. I'm fucking losing it. He's been vocal about it. So I honestly think that those would be the team. Those would be the guys that would come in, and they just
on the vet ticket.
I was about to say on the vet ticket. Now the only thing
you're not going to have Burke and Graham. We'll have the screaming twins from their cars.
Where's my chicken? The thing is that I got the joke.
I try not to hate on it, because I don't like giving
they're cool.
The vet bros, too much.
Well, no, it's you got to think about it too. You got to remember there's veteran issues though that they have to fix. It's not just it would be cool to have them in there, and then not do anything. So if you're going to come in there and say you're going to be you're going to fix what's up with the with the VA administration, you're going to fix what's up with with how soldiers are being treated. Because we got individuals that are more worried about pinks and greens than housing or barracks in installations. You just look at the main page of all the
There was a
videos.
report that's saying that suicides in VA parking lots have risen.
Right?
One, why is that a fucking statistic? And two, why is it on the rise? But oh wait, remember we got to celebrate that, you know, suicide rates among veterans is stable. It hasn't gone up or down, which is like, yeah, but that means there's still people killing themselves that are veterans, fucker.
Correct.
So yeah. So honestly, I think the smartest thing would be, I could see like check out this ticket, mix it. You get Amy Klobuchar and
You got
Mark Kirkland.
Ooh. Now here's my stance.
Cory Booker and Mad Dog Mattis.
Okay, I can see that. Oh, okay, okay. I can see something like that. I could definitely see either or running as VP or yeah, they're interchangeable. Or General Dempsey and Mark, because you know I served with both of them when they were.
I like General Dempsey.
Yeah, when they were in the 1st Armored Division, they were both my bosses. So I know them. So and they've worked together as a team before. So I know they could kick ass, and they would be an awesome command team. I mean, presidential team, command team.
It would be a command team. I mean, that's just how we look at things. But I mean, this year is going to be pretty crazy. Just you know, as when we get to this summer, it's going to be claws will be out because there's just when you have a crowded field, you have to separate yourself. That was one thing that in a crowded field of Republicans, Donald Trump did very well. Granted, how he separated himself was being a complete douchebag, but in turn, he separated himself. He also, because of his douchebaggery, was able to keep his name in the media. Everyone heard him. So then every time he did any kind of press or he did any kind of rally, everyone was on him. Of course, he also didn't have the whole Jeb Bush thing, like, please clap, which I was like, phone it in, you're done. Anytime you have to like tell people, hey, please clap for what I'm saying, no one cares anymore. Like I was like, his candidacy done, fucker. But I mean, Donald Trump, granted, Donald Trump is not who I voted for and not who I wanted to be president, but still, he was able to dominate the conversation. He was able to dominate during when they were doing the debates. He was able to dominate the questions even when they weren't asked to him. He would make his little side things, and they would all of a sudden answer the question. They started arguing with him, and so he was always on their mind. And I wonder if anyone in a better, maybe not a less douchier way, will try to do the same thing and try to dominate the conversation. You know, everyone we had our first presidential candidate who started really using social media. You had the Bernie Sanders campaign that was really on Twitter. You had Hillary Clinton, who was, I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids. That was fucking creepy as hell. And now you have Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I remember that. I don't know why I'm not 50 points behind. Maybe you guys need to do something. I'm like, wow. Yeah.
So, you're going to start seeing people use, Camille. So there's a lot of them have something hanging over them. A lot of people with Camille Harris. I guess apparently she was given, her first like big gig was kind of given because of who she was with / sleeping with. That's been circulating around. Cory Booker really doesn't have anything against him other than being single.
Now let me let me go back on that shit about Kamala Harris. Okay. The whole thing. See, this is what's going to kill. This is what's going to get people to vote for her. And this is what people need. What people aren't realizing. You're gonna say that about a woman, whether it's true or not, and you say that to a woman on the ticket. You're gonna lose the women vote because you say the reason why she got elected or the reason why she got to where she was because she was sleeping with somebody. You know what I mean? That's how women. Women will take that note, the women voter, and they'll go, he thinks these motherfuckers.
Don't slut shame her.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it doesn't matter. Because that's what I'm saying.
Hey, girl. Do what you got to do.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I
didn't become an NCO without having to. I'm
kidding. Well, you are 10. But no, what I'm saying though,
Camille Harris is she wants to federally, legalize marijuana.
Yes.
I expect, because a lot of them have touched on. She was, I smoked a little in college, and I'm like, of course.
No, but she said in open media, she was getting interviewed in a radio station and said specifically, she even admitted it. She said, "Hey, I smoked marijuana when I was in college. I mean, come on, I came from Jamaica. My family came from Jamaica, and I will push legislation to make marijuana legal." Now, the veteran vote will be looking at that.
Watch. I watch this. I'm going to make it a prediction. You ready for this?
Send it.
What time is it? It is 2042. If half of the declared Democrat candidates say they want to legalize marijuana, $20 D. Treasy pushes for it. Like he's always said, okay, I don't really care so much. Watch it. If they all declare, watch him take that away from him. Watch him take.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So he doesn't want to get because he. Oh, I see what you're saying now because D2 doesn't want. Like, he doesn't want to get. He doesn't want to get one upped. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. Like because that's something that Donald Trump would do. Would steal their thunder by all of a sudden he's going to have this big press conference and be like, marijuana is not that bad, so we're going to federally recognize it or legalize it or whatever. Or there's a bipartisan bill that they're trying to push through that, it pretty much pushes, instead of the federal government prosecuting it, they leave it up to the state. So if you're in a state that approves medical marijuana or recreational, good to go. If you're not, well, you're screwed. But I guarantee if half of them, he will push for some kind of marijuana legislation to take that from them. Because right now, Kamala Harris's big thing is she would everyone besides the new Green New Deal or whatever. That's the only other platform that Kamala Harris is committed to is legalize marijuana. Enough of them start making that as a big thing. I guarantee you, bet Donald Trump will take that win from their sail and will boost him up. Bet, because that is something that this president would do, and it'd be the smart thing to do. If you know the wind, and I remember telling people within 10 years, I think this was in 2009, in 10 years, half the states are going to be legalized, which seeing that this is 2019, I'm not too far off. Almost pretty much half the states approve medical marijuana. And then there's a dozen states that do recreational. It's moving that direction.
It is.
Whether states like Arkansas, Alabama, Montana, or like Connecticut or a couple other ones that have been kind of more hesitant to that. Of course, Connecticut needs to shut up because they got an OD problem over there. But if there's enough, eventually it's going to start snowballing that way, and it already is. Especially when California's got recreational marijuana, you got Colorado, which is making money off of it, and other places like that. It's going to start snowballing. The smart thing for the president would be, and I would advise him, just do it. Just at least take it off the federal books and let the states have the power to do that. One, you're going to make some libertarians very happy that there's more power going to the states and less the federal government. Bam. Two, if you take away the federal prohibition on it, these medical companies and shops can actually use federal banks, more money flowing through these banks that are some federally controlled and stuff like that, and the it's less dodgy because that's a lot of banks can't take any of that money because it's weed money, it's drug money type thing, and there's still a federal ban on that. So you help out those people in those states that really don't like you. You undercut all the Democrats who say we want to do it because you're already doing it. So when they say, well, we want to legalize it, and they're like, hey, I'm making it up to the states. States can do it. So talk to your state government, not me. Bam. He gets so many votes from all these different avenues just by one simple act of pushing towards, at least federally not prosecuting people for marijuana. You didn't have to go the whole hog and say, it's fuck you states, it's now legalized everywhere. He only has to do half the step and still will outplay the Democrats.
Yeah, he would just have to remove it from the schedule.
Maybe I shouldn't be giving him these tips.
Yeah. Yeah, really. Yeah, really.
Oh man. I mean, it's a smart move though.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to remember too, is that, like you said, the majority of states are already pushing legalization for recreational and medicinal. Florida's already talking about
at least medicinal.
Correct. In Florida, the state of Florida,
even Virginia's pushing medicinal.
Yeah, the state of Florida, state of North Carolina, state of I think it was Alabama. You just name any of the states. Nevada, California. They're all pushing recreational medicinal in one way, shape, or form. Texas, of course, being backwards on that. They haven't done it yet. However, in the state of Florida, if you're a veteran, you get issued a medicinal marijuana card. They're talking about pushing that. So you're right. The state, all he has to do is say it and move it on schedule, or knowing him, he'll just remove it right off the bat.
Yeah, I could see it. I think he'd have an easier time, at least federally, not saying, hey, federally, it's something we're going to push it. It's on the states. We're going to have because the bill comes out and it says there's certain federal guardrails, but it's a wide fucking lane. And it's on the states. So the state, there will be some federal guardrails on things, but 90% of everything is the state's decision. If Virginia decides we want recreational or decides we don't, it's on the state, not the federal government. And that like I said, it helps out the libertarians, that the folks that believe in more, there should be more power to the state instead of the federal government. Allow the states to run their states like they want to. And it makes it so people who are in Colorado and California and I think like Washington and Oregon won't have to keep looking over their back that Johnny Big Boots is going to come in and kick down their door and go, hey, guess what? Still federally a punishable offense. So, honestly, because I don't, I think that's a good move for the federal government, anyways. Because,
correct.
You're kind of fucking over people because the states have approved it, but
correct, exactly. And I'll be honest with you. I think it'll be good for it'll be. I will say this. Everyone's talking about what the laws would be or how much crime would be. No one can anyone, just like no one can say with any validity of what the actual statistics are for how cannabinoid or a CBD oil or the use of medicinal marijuana. There is still no baseline. Even when we've been talking this shit forever, there is still no baseline statistics of what the benefits are. Everyone's saying no, it's not approved by the FDA. I'm willing to bet you that now. Here's what's happening. You got to remember, Philip Morris is getting into the fucking business now. What's going to happen is I have a feeling that the FDA is going to get their dick beaters in this, and that's what I think is happening. Everything's getting set up to get propped into. That all these mom and pop weed shops are going to get fucking bought out for the government, just like if you were to grow your own tobacco type thing. You know what I mean? Or you brew your own alcohol, or you have your still. So it'll be almost like how alcohol is with moonshine, and it being taxed just as well as it's going to happen with marijuana. I think it's probably going to be like you said within the year or so. And what's going to end up being is you get a pack of smokes, and then you can also see marijuana, and it would be regulated just like alcohol. It would be regulated just like. There'd be an age limit or something like that. So I have a feeling you're right. I have a feeling that that's what's going to happen. Now, any of these individuals start talking about it, Kamala Harris has already shot the first. She's already made the first shot about legalizing and making it federally legal for marijuana. So she's already fired the first shot.
And she can say, I was the first to say this already.
Yeah, exactly. So some people are saying, I don't want to have to drive to Colorado. Exactly. What's wrong with Colorado, though? I wouldn't mind going to Colorado. But my point being is I think that's what's going to happen. I think if the president gets told, Kamala Harris has already fucking announced it, he's going to fucking say something. Well, I have it, like you said, it's going to be within a matter of time he's going to say it. So that way he's not one-upped. You know what I mean? But anyhow.
Yeah, because you can't one-up D. Treasy, and we'll see what happens. But so you got a pretty right now. It's a very crowded field. There's a lot of big names. Like they came out, like there was, they came out firing of who's who of the Democrat Party to run for the primary. I expected maybe three or four big names, and the rest are kind of unknowns. They went nope. They went everybody. I mean, even Julian Castro is a big name Democrat Party. And there's a couple of unknowns, like Pete Buttigieg. think that's how you say it. It sounds German to me. Is unknown, but he's already making waves. But Cory Booker, Kirsten Gillibrand, Carrie, Elizabeth Warren. We already knew Elizabeth Warren, but because I know we're getting close on time, here's my question to you: if Hillary Clinton runs, is that pretty much saying "F you" to all the other female candidates on the potential Democrat ticket?
I think what's going to happen is that they're all going to turn against her, because now they've all made an announcement, right? And here's what's going to happen. You want to talk about the dumpster fire again and all the fucking drama in between? If she comes out and says something, all these young ones, I guarantee it, AOC will be the biggest. I mean, AOC, in a way, she, like I told you this before, she is like the fucking Democratic version of Trump. The way she's coming in there and just starting shit and just fucking telling motherfuckers there's no, she has no decorum, and everyone's like, oh, it's new, it's fresh. The way she has her ideas, oh, this is so new and fresh. No, she's acting just like Dee Treasy. The way she patronizes people and the way she talks to people, the same way Dee Treasy does it, just on a different level.
Yeah, I don't. When it comes to AOC, I don't care that she was a bartender. Hey, she ran a campaign. She got elected. Is she the smartest? Is she the sharpest knife in the drawer? No. She contradicts herself a lot. Even her own party hits her up. But the one thing I do like is that while the Green New Deal is it won't even get out of the committee. It's a great if stars and rainbows and leprechauns were real, then we could probably do everything in 10 years or whatnot. Granted, there is a lot of misinformation about the Green New Deal. There's like 3 or 4 fake FAQ lists on this. I actually read the original thing, and it's still pretty revolutionary. It's a lot of like, well, we have to do all this stuff. But my problem is she contradicts herself on a lot of stuff. She expects a double standard. She doesn't like being, she doesn't like that she gets fact checked. She's like, I get fact checked as much as the president's. Like, you're still a politician, and you want to, bark on TV, you're going to get fact checked. I think she, and the Democrats who would love that she got elected are now trying to be like, okay, now you need to sit down and like speak when spoken, like, like their hierarchy. But she's bucking that, which is kind of like, it's kind of biting in the ass. So I mean, AOC, cool, good for you, but it's not going to matter when it comes to Clinton. For me, if you look at it,
they're going to I'm telling you, man, they're all going to get intimidated not to run.
For me, when it comes to Clinton, like, yes, she kind of broke the mold, and she was the first female for the Democrat ticket to run, actually, to be in a presidential election. Regardless if you like Hillary Clinton or hate her, it is still a huge accomplishment, and it is still a historical, newsworthy accomplishment. She's led the way for other female Democrat ticket Democrat candidates to, she's broken that glass ceiling. So now, instead of having, because I think you had like 2 females that were running for the Democrat ticket last time, you now have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 females running right now. To me, if Hillary Clinton was to throw her hat in the ring, it'd almost be like, hey, I broke the glass ceiling for you, but now I'm going to come in here and mess it up. To me, it's a slight. It's like, okay, you had your turn, you had your shot, you weren't able to beat Donald Trump. Granted, if you believe in the collusion or not, I don't think it had as big of an impact to sway a giant election when they were predicting that she had a 95% chance of winning the election. So I don't think there was that much collusion where they swiped away CNN's 95% whatever. But to me, if she jumps in, she ruins the Democrat ticket.
Yes, she does.
Because, and she pisses off. She pisses off everyone.
Yeah, well,
no one will want her endorsement. They won't want her around. They're going to kick.
You might as well just get some fucking overwhelming rocker popcorn, dude, or some fucking, and just sit back and watch. It's going to be a blast. If she jumps in,
it'll be right now. They would love to have her endorsement, but if she jumps in, they're going to be like, "Didn't you lost to Donald Trump? What are you doing here?" We're trying to fix your mess because you got all cocky. And like I said, if she would have went outside of her comfort zone, if she would have went to the places that she wasn't comfortable, where she wasn't winning by 100 points or whatever, and she would have went to all the other places that weren't Seattle, LA, New York City, and stuff like that, she might have probably she could have won. But she didn't do what Donald Trump did. He went to all the small towns. He went to everywhere that he potentially could win and won them. She lost it because she thought she was owed the presidency, and she believed everything that MSNBC, CNN, and everyone put out. Everyone, Huffington Post, everyone was saying she was going to win by a landslide, and she phoned in her the election, and this is what we get is Donald Trump. I think if she jumps in, all those females are going to feel slighted, and even if she gets their endorsement, she's not. Even if when she gets kicked out, and she starts endorsing people, they're not even going to care. They're not going to tout, I've been endorsed by Hillary Clinton. They'll be like, yeah, cool, go away. But that's just where I stand. I think, she's created a way. It's love her or hate her, which mostly hate her. She broke the glass ceiling for the Democrats, but I think she jumps in now. She pretty much fucks everybody.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well,
it would be a selfish act.
You might as well just keep going and do house cleaning, bro, because we're like 3 minutes out.
Are we 3 minutes out? All right, cool. Well, hey, don't forget, we're on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, YouTube, Instagram. We're also, let's see, where else are we at? Wherever. Oh, we're also on Mixer. You can check us out on the TuneIn app. Don't forget, you can go to WTFNationRadio.com. That's where you can check out. You get to know some of the folks behind the WTF Nation Radio. There's the About Us and all that cool stuff. You can also re-listen to any of the shows you might have missed. And you can also go to iTunes to subscribe to the podcast. Yes, every time we do a show, we upload a podcast right after the show. So if you missed the Monday edition or Tied Up Tuesday or Tinfoil Times, you can go back and re-listen to all of them by going to iTunes, typing WTF Nation Radio, and subscribing. You automatically get updated. So say you work the day shift and you're the night shift and you can't stay up and listen to us. Cool, we got you. Yeah, you can subscribe. Let's see. My thing just closed on me.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just pay attention to the guests. You'll see some surprise guests coming. I think we shouldn't just do guests anymore because we've been getting bigger guests. I think we should just surprise people. I think we have
some. I'm going to tease because we started teasing it on Twitter, and soon it will come out with our cool announcements. I'll tell you what, folks. Thanks to some great public affairs folks out there working with us and taking the chance at WTF Nation Radio and U.S. Army WTF Moments. We got some big guests coming, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for other units because we're going to see the big guys coming up. Yes, I said big guys, and I'm not talking wide, but we got some really exciting people. I'll just say next Monday, we have Mark Yabanka. He's from Burbank, California. He's a military-based journalist and author. His articles appeared in Stars and Stripes, Army Times, American Veteran, Vietnam Magazine, Military Heritage, Soldier of Fortune, Airways, and many others. He's author of 3 different books, and he's going to be coming on the show to talk with us. Very excited, and we'll tease more as we get closer since we're getting really close. But man, I tell you what, we got some big stuff coming on Sergeant Time. But hey, if you have any guests that you really want us to talk to, send us your suggestions and we'll try to make it happen. That's what we do.
Word again, Don Shipley, thank you so much, Senior Chief, for coming on and shooting the shit.
Man.
Go ahead and check out the like I said, we're going to post all the links on the podcast website. You can use iTunes and downplay. Also, you can get it off of Twitter once it gets tweeted out. But tweet when it gets to Twitter. I'm still figuring it out. If you check out the podcast, just make sure you open up the page and look at the website. All the links that we had on the Facebook page will be on our website as well. So don't forget, we also have WTFNationRadio.com, and then we also stream off of the ArmyWTFMoments.com. There is a website for the main page, so don't hesitate to do that. But thanks again, Don, for coming up, and I will take you up on that offer to swing by. Hell yizzle. Y'all, thanks for coming on tonight, and then thank you Spanky, and thank you Flash for coming on, and shouts.
stated on WTF and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show.
Intergalactic horse, and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. They say that they've discovered life up there on Mars, so let's blow it all to hell and then claim it for ours. We'll paint the moon red, white, and blue for no other reason than we wanted to. Oh, Jupiter, imagine what you could become. A stupid, pointless planet turned into a giant gun. And Russia, so sorry, have to burst your bubble. Be a good sport now, sit back, relax, and watch us through the hubble as we celebrate the greatness of the United Planets of America. Space Force, Space Force. We'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Now we'll go to infinity and beyond, beyond. You'll hear our manly voices singing Space Force strong. The critics say sound doesn't travel in space, to which we reply sound will do as we say. Oh, Captain Kirk, your achievements, though notable and fine, as far as we're concerned, this is Deep Space Mine. And big fans, but Lord Vader, step away from the lightsaber. There can only be one, of course. Space Force. Ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum, ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Space Force, Space Force. We'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force.
You're listening to the sounds of WTF Nation Radio.
Good evening, boys and girls. This is Tim Kennedy. I'm a Special Forces sniper, a Ranger-qualified Green Beret, a UFC fighter. Please listen to us and the shenanigans that we're going to say. We will insult you. There will be racial slurs. We will be sexist. We will offend you. But there will be magic, and a unicorn will be raped. So enjoy the show. Thank you for listening on WTF Nation Radio.